Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming. We're covering Season 50, 3 versus 3 Grand Arena Championship Week 1. I am joined here by my hosts, Dagger, TJ, and Sasha Isha. And before we get all kicked off here, I just wanted to mention, due to popular request, this podcast has been uploaded to Spotify and Google Podcasts, which means it's also shared to YouTube podcasts. I'm still working on the Apple end of things. Apple is, difficult. It always is. But eventually, hopefully, I'll get it on there. But wherever you enjoy consuming podcasts, we're trying to make it available to you. So, anyways, guys, how you doing?
Doing great.
Doing fantastic. Living the actual dream. It is Minnesota, and it is damn near 50 outside, and it's February.
Oh yeah.
Good GAC. Feel like shit. Carry on.
Yeah, I've got a head cold. My head is actually pounding. I have a hot mug of tea here that I'm going to work through. But the show must go on. The people must get what the people deserve. So, without further ado, gentlemen, let's dig right into the meat and potatoes, yeah? What worked this week? Dagger, usually you've got... No, wait, do we start off with what didn't work? God, I have a...
No, it's always what works, buddy.
What does work.
Yeah, we always start with what works. Man.
No, don't worry. This is definitely our very first take it trying to get this to work, and we're just not doing another one.
Like, I swear to God, I didn't have this like 2 minutes ago, but when you have that twang little pain, like when you have the headache
like
just
Tassinix wants to be like TJ,
off.
so because TJ's sick, Tassinix wants to be sick too. I feel like he's just biting on doorknobs, right, Tass?
He's like, I have COVID test. Like, yeah, well, I feel worse.
Not at all. I'm just literally saying I got a headache.
He just got it because I said it. That's right. You tell him.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, anyways, guys, what worked? Let's go ahead and start off with Dagger. So, you usually go pretty efficient. Let's hear about it.
Well, yeah. So this first week of threes, I don't think anyone's going to be too surprised to know that efficiency wasn't really the name of the game this week. It was, can you actually slog through this shit? I learned pretty early on that if you don't put both Gideons on DTMG, it is kind of susceptible to Night Sisters because they just farm zombie and kill themselves with Plague. But if you have the other Gideon there for the heal and the extra offense, oh man, it's just over really fast.
Now, are you saying that closes out Night Sisters, though?
I'm saying I've took in Night Sisters and they killed Zombie twice and then Marin before I got a turn.
So I had a viewer suggest to me Mother Talzin, Marin, Daka, and I actually did pull that off.
Against both Gideons?
No. Sorry, that was Scout Storm. But
yes.
I'm saying
I'm talking about both Gideons specifically.
Yeah. I do hear you on that, and I would just wonder. Like, that's going to definitely be something that people are going to try further this season. So
yeah.
I'm curious how forbidding that is of that.
We'll see what they use because I did set it right. That was my go-to this week. So once all the information, because obviously we're doing this like right after the close of GAC, I can let you know what I've seen usually against mine. But that's what I was setting. I know Dagger and I talked about the differences in a third, but I was setting. Out of the 2 out of the 3 rounds, I was setting that with Baby Gideon on there.
And I'm sure we're all going to extol the virtues of Starkiller once more, but it turns out that works again. EPMJ Starkiller, I did Darth Vader Malicos Starkiller. That was like LOL overkill. And I think you can do it with Vader, Starkiller, and Visas. Although I may try that depending on if I have the leeway to next week. Don't take my word for that. It's just a thought. But I
saw Fatal do a Darth Vader Starkiller and it was pretty satisfying. So I think there's merit to that.
Who's the third?
I forget. It was today, and I was in meetings. It was out of the corner of my eye. I saw like Darth Vader lead, and I saw Starkiller like do a basic, and I had to look back over at some. I forget.
Yeah, Darth Vader plus Starkiller is going to be nasty. It's just who's going to be the effective third essentially. But
does that mean we're coming back to the rise of EP Mara Jade Malakon defense?
Maybe. I don't think that team's going to be particularly... Well, I mean, it'll be good in
doubt?
the sense that it was always, like, solid. But I think that you're going to find better uses for EPMJ.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that's the season right now.
Yeah, because there's that protection up level 6, and I think the ceiling for EPMJ without Starkiller is pretty high. Not quite sure how high, but I'm pretty sure it's high.
Okay.
Other than that, I'll just say this: going into week 1 with the plan to overkill shit and then still have 5+ drops per thing was very obnoxious. So I'll have more to talk about in the next segment.
Yes, I mean, in short, I know we'll all echo this in our own way, but yeah, defenses matter again. It's it isn't just easy to bowl over something with like you're holding your 2 and 3 and 400% defense crons for whatever you're attacking with. Ain't doing none of that today.
Oh, and my solution to Chirrut was slackers, so don't ask me what I was doing.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, for me, Riva was just conquest on that. That was the absolute destruction. What was it? I did something else. I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to me. I'll look at it. But TJ, let's hear about you. What worked well for you?
Man, I'm telling you what's gonna be funny enough. Jawas are just wrecking the shit out of stuff right now. It is so much fun to Jawa stuff.
What do you reckon?
If you try Star Killer with EP Mara Jade on defense, I'm gonna Jawa you. And yes, it does work. I've got the screenshot. It's a 66.
Well, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. All these things, right? If you try this Maul with, I'm gonna put ISC and Gar on defense. People tried that shit. I'm gonna Jawa you, and that's gonna work.
You can nest that. That team. But
it's fun to use your Jawas, right? Having a.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, but it's like
just for a macro perspective, I'm trying to help our people listening. Don't do that.
So, but it's like, but if you have Jawas with the cron. Jawas actually do kill stuff right now, and it's holding pretty strong in what you would think would be solid B teams. So just be on the lookout that Jawas are a good thing right now, and don't put them on defense. Stop putting these damn things on defense.
Well,
Go have fun on offense.
State it real clear for the folks at home what the requirements are when you say the Jawas.
I have a relic.
I
have 2 relic 7s, so I'll say that with a relic 5, and I'm killing R9. Full EP Mara Jade Star Killer teams. I kill full R9, Maul, Gar, and ISC, trim to the brim, creme de la creme setups, and they all died with my meager. I have some Jawas. Mm-hmm. That was the requirement. Fun, super fun. They just fade away. Jawas are out here doing Utini bitches all day. Mm-hmm. Other things that worked. It's pretty standard right now. So. This was kind of like my testing week. I'll go more into what didn't work on some things I was trying. A lot of GL solos. Obviously, the other things we know that were working, like people were setting Jabba a couple times on me. Still taking Afra with both of the Omis on the droids. It's still doing its job.
Are you fighting people that have the proper tenacity set up on Chrysanthemum?
Yeah.
And you are
fighting
still
Paw Patrol. Yeah, I'm not fighting non. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No offense meant, but yeah, no. I'm just curious because that getting resisted sucks.
I hate to say this. I'm going to say this once, and Task, don't let this go to your head. I think just from the way that my fights play out in 3v3, if my Afro was R9, I'd never lose that fight.
That's pretty fair, yeah. Because if you could survive the opening, like 3 shots, right? Yeah. I'll give it 3 turns. Boom, boom, boom. If your Afro is still alive, 99%, there's no reason you're not winning. If you understand the data cron and when you're going to basic, like you may just need to not open with just, we'll call it the Heinzie, right? Not just push a special. You may just need to use a basic first. As long as you understand what you're looking at and where the cooldowns and stuff are, I'm just fine.
Mm-hmm. And this is with BT1 and 000. You're not swapping in B2 to guarantee a turn?
Just the standard. I am prefacing, I do have my Omis in place, but I don't really think that matters. Mm-hmm. As long as you have the datacron.
The 000 one does really help, though.
Okay, there you go. But like I said, if you get past your 3rd or 4th turn, Afra feels just fine, man. If they target your Afra, and that's why I think Dagger talks about R9, if they target your Afra and your Afra blows up, you lose. It's pretty simple. Yeah. If she doesn't, you win.
Yeah, and she doesn't really get, like, the condition for her to be blown up is Chrysanthemum resisting and then putting the debuff on.
No, it's Boosh hard targeting her.
No,
it's hard targeting her.
Right. If they hard target your Afra, you lose. But if you're an R9, to Dagger's point, you should be thick enough and built well enough that she should be able to take that one big bang or one big bomb when it goes off, and then you win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I put a prop triangle on her to start the V3 this week.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And it's been really nice. And I got really close to dead in one of my fights versus Jabba. And I think right now it's fine, but I think after all the crons are gone, I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to R9. But anyways.
I can see that. I can see the effort put in there.
And Dagger prefaced all this by telling me to not have it go to my head, because it's not because I'm going to sit here and say I told you so. But the amount of shit that you gave me at the time for doing it, and I had great reasons for it.
It was a terrible idea then, and this was not your reason for doing it.
No, it was not. It was not. It was not. I had different reasons.
I'm gonna I just want to kill it off with the other things that still worked, right?
Yeah. Go. Sorry.
No,
I know, but the one thing I will forgive Dagger on is I think Dagger has a really great call out. So I think that really needs to be added in with the asterisk, right? Because obviously there's a chance to lose that really is mitigated with Dagger's suggestion. All right, so other things that worked. Everything else that we're going to know works. The one I'm playing with right now and having a lot of fun using is Bam Han Chewy. Somebody put BKM on me. I wouldn't call this optimized because they split. Paz wasn't on the team, but they put BKM. I made a poopy and forgot all about the bonus turn. So I had a fresh BKM I had to kill, and Bam Han Chewy just destroyed it. And that was with Paz and Sabine. So I saw what he was trying to do, but Bam Han Chewy don't care. They don't play that, and they'll take your damn lunch money. So that was awesome. That worked. Other things that worked: GLs were soloing stuff, and then playing with your scoundrels. I was having a lot of fun playing with the scoundrel crons and killing stuff. Nothing that's worth mentioning, but it is fun right now that the data crons are in effect with their scoundrel setups and the buffs from the 5%. And then, 100% turn meter, all these are doing good things as well.
All right. Great. Nice summary there. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Sasha, how about you? What worked this week?
It's a good week. It went pretty smooth. I went 3-0, so I had more work for me than didn't. Stuff that stood out, I did have some interesting didn't work lessons when we get there, but stuff that stood out for me, more sort of along the edges, in that there was I actually found a couple of really good uses for Bosk Grief Mando. Now that there's no longer sort of, gosh, I've got to preserve my grief just in case. Like, I can't use grief at lower front wall because who knows if I need it for an LV in the back. The days of that seem to be gone. With BKM here. And both with the Scoundrel Cron that has a level 6, 100% turn meter and reset cooldown on basic, that Boss Grief Mando is just really effective at getting a ton of turns in early to generate contract, and is able to take out a decent amount of clubs. Like I had a couple of even Hondo squads, where Hondo's able to get the handcuffs out early, but regardless of who he went for, was able to get enough turns, kind of control the situation. So that was a good squad on offense. Yeah.
Do you have, or did you get to use the OG Mandocron?
I had it, but I had it purposed elsewhere. It was one of the 2 or 3 that I had that had the right level 3. So I had it on my Ray or something. Okay. Did you use the Dagger and get any learnings off of it?
No, I don't. I didn't have it this last week, but I have it this week, and I was curious if you had used it because figure out where to apply that datacron is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, it certainly has potential. I don't know that I would put that above the Scoundrel 100% turn meter on basic, because of the amount of turns that you can generate, and particularly with that comp, those 3. You also have Frenzy on Bosk. That you're progressing on contracts so quickly that it would be nice to have Mando get the extra turn meter, but I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I guess it depends on perhaps the matchup, but I found it. The 100% turn meter, that level 6 Scoundrel Cron, great. Then another, which is just like a super oldie but a very versatile goodie, is I kept in each of my 3 matches DR, BSF, Malik on offense, and this guy's just do so much. It could be a Seer Malikos, it could be there are just a variety of different options where like it still works really well. And in one efficiency match, I did happen to have one efficiency match in my last match, and I didn't end up doing this because I didn't need to, but I kept thinking, hey, if I have to, I'm holding my Malik on offense. And there were, I actually had looked at using Malik as like as this solo against a Sortie GG Droideka, just because again I was holding him on offense. I didn't use it. I went full DR BSF Malik, which got a 56, and I didn't need to short squad that. But and then the last thing I'll add is actually just solely echoing TJ. Like Jawas had a place and a purpose. Like it was pretty fun for me. I did not use him against the Star Killer squad, but I used him against a very solid 2R and R9 on a Hera Captain Wreck Kanan squad. And granted, there are other things to beat it, but it was a very smooth 57. And as is often the case with the Jawa Cron when it works, I don't think I took a turn. The other squad just kept going, and then it was like microwave popcorn. It was pretty fun.
Nice. Anything else you wanted to highlight?
No. I think that's it for now. I've got some stuff on defense and certainly interesting stuff on didn't work too. But go for it.
One quick note before you go. Just and you guys maybe speak on this too. I just want to make this really quick. I fought 2 different Lord Vader comps. This week. Lord Vader, Sortie, Maul. That team still dies to bow. Don't set it. And then Darth Vader, Shore, and Lord Vader. That team also died to bow. Both for max banners. Don't get cute. This Bocron overpowers the team.
Mm-hmm. I will concur. They didn't have Maul, but it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't bother.
As someone who has doggedly kept Lord Vader on defense season after season, the writing's on the wall. He ain't great right now. He ain't good right now. He's not. You got 4 months of.
You got 4 months of just don't do it.
Don't bother.
I faced the Russian streamer used to be RMZO. I think he changed his account name to Swim Kid, but he's kind of moved around. But he streams. He's a really good player. Mm-hmm. He set a creative comp on me that was EPMJ LV with the Doubt Cron. Mm-hmm. So EP and MJ, like granted, I could take one of them out if I was going to use BKM. I had BKM purposed elsewhere on that. It just turned out it was vulnerable to just like an LV and a couple of tanks, because his LV didn't have a lead, have its usual lead. And if, you use your own LV, you've got thoughts out there. They have no turn meter train because they can't game turn meter. So, it was an interesting comp. It just also happened to have a readily available solution.
Interesting, though. I'll keep that in mind. Zio is actually one of my very favorites to watch. I love how he does more with less. So
totally
super into that. All right, what worked for me this week? Let's see here. The first round, I got matched against our friend Absolution. So he's one of our friends in Erodium.
Yeah.
And that one was quick. Relatively, like still 2 hours. But DTMG...
News at 11 takes task 2 hours to kill a 9 million account? Yeah.
So DTMG Storm Scout. Obviously, I saw Chirrut Bays down for week 1. And, against DTMG Storm Scout, Radis, Jin, SRP... with a set 12 stacking offense cron, got the job done for 55 banners. That same fight I bungled the very next fight, but still, I think it still works. Most important of all is like if you have the same decision that I did, where your Radis just went. Now Jin is immediately following, and you could do that turn pass back to him to get closer to the ultimate. And he's at like 0 TM, so it's a great value, yada yada. Man, wouldn't you know it that they focus Radis down right after that, then Jin gets a turn and could have brought him back, right? So just hold on to that. Don't use it to move the fight along. You just got to hold it just in case. That's, that goes more...
To your point, I tried that same fight after I lost with Night Sisters. and they dispelled SRP. SRP didn't get to go.
Mm-hmm.
They killed Radis, and then they killed Jin, and then I guess I could taunt with my SRP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, it might work, but I wouldn't put any money on that.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to TJ on this one. Heracrex Kanan saw it only once this week, but Chirpa, Wicket, Nisa, even without an Ewok cron, devoured it easily, 57. Let's see here. Akbar, Leia Han, Old Ben, Hondo, and Cal. So I had Brilliant Randy drop in and hang out on stream for that round. And Old Ben and Hondo's an old favorite for a lot of folks on threes. I usually have Hondo on defense, but I had him this round. And it was Randy's suggestion to take in Cal, and Cal was amazing, man. Cal added so much longevity to Old Ben. And then once Old Ben was gone, there was never a doubt that the two of them were going to survive the whole fight. So, really enjoyed that. Let's see. What else was there? JK. Nope, that wasn't anything special. Yeah, saw Chirrut Bays. You'll be unsurprised to learn falls to Bo-Katan, so I did use that once. That was good. Trench Jango Dooku with a lot of doubt. I did just Bastila J-Cal that, but there was one that I wanted to highlight there. Yeah, I already told you about the Mother Talzin Daka Marin versus DTMG. Where was the other one? Trench Jango Dooku versus Sortie, Droidica, and IPD with the IPD cron. Just did a fine job of keeping IPD locked down. Never got a chance, really, to blow up on anyone. And, yeah. How often are you saying that you're pulling off what was that? 56 with Trench on offense. Love that. All right, that's about it for me. Section 2. What didn't work? Dagger, kick us off.
Yeah, so the first time I fought Gideon Scout, I think I put 3 or 4 fights into that. Night Sisters, LOL bad. Radis, LOL bad. And I think I ended up just cleaning it with Slacker once I got sick of it. Because I was just this was the front wall, and I was just I just got to get through this. Mm-hmm. Saw, the 2 times I saw it up front, I just slackered it, and my third round opponent didn't have the cron, so I just, star killered it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say where I went wrong the most was misevaluating the power level on that level 3 from the previous set, the stacking offense.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot how many turns they get in 3v3. And a lot of those little guys were ramping their ramping their offense a lot harder than I thought they were gonna. And with no defense or defensive stats, I found some of my we'll just call them R7 tanks, right? Less developed tanks just getting whittled down a lot quicker than I was okay with.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it cost me more banners than it did fights, but man, it's wild how much damage there is right now in the game. Yeah, I bled so many banners this week. Not as many drops, I think, as I'm going to leave my drop. Yeah, you can go look at my history if you want to see all my drops. Some of them were science because I had already beaten opponents. But yeah, dude, so much damage, so many banner bleeds. I found myself overcommitting with tanks. JML failed versus Seer. That was a fun one.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What's the detail on that?
Malicos is an asshole.
Just slapped the shit out of the Latias.
Yeah, the sides were gone. Okay, but JML's not soloing shit.
Oh, so the sequence of events was rocks, then bye-bye?
Yeah, the second rocks was I almost had him dead, and then he went second rocks, and it's oh, bye team, bye friends.
We will see you.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the biggest fuck ups. I pretty much overkilled pretty much everything, so I'll let you guys go.
Okay, good enough. TJ, how about you? I know you got a lot to say. Let's hear it.
Not a lot this time, honestly. So So some of it was dumb, some of it was bad timing or bad luck, as it always would be. So the what didn't. So we start round one. Saw my first matchup against Sacha's. Man, was I just tested stuff because I was getting blown out. JML on a fresh saw chirrut. It deleted my JML. I think first or second move, JML was gone. Now I'm not talking about the sides. I'm talking about JML. Dead, gone. Chirrut just deleted JML. I thought that was funny. What else? Gas didn't work on that.
That was actually a little surprising. Like gas strikes fives?
Yeah, man. It's just because the turn meter game. It's just the turn meter game.
Yeah.
They end up going so fast. Your team can't keep up with what's happening, and you're taking so much damage on gas. There's nothing to sustain him, so he just got sat down, and then like by the time he didn't even get a chance to do the full stand up. Nope, and it was just gone. It's just that Sacha's is just a monster right now on defense, and since the kits are simple, I can handle it.
I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed seeing gas, requiring some pretty serious response again on defense.
What else? So what else didn't work? I will tell you one that caught me in that. We'll call it bad timing just for it because I had the fight control perfectly well. Star Killer against Ray, but it was with Cal instead of JTR. It was just the perfect crux of I had the team being locked down. I was hitting them where they needed to, so the turn meters removed. The one time it was Ray was able to go, removed the debuff, went right into ult. So,
JTR's an asshole sometimes.
It wasn't even JTR. It was Ben and Cal. It was just that great timing of.
We're just go off.
Yeah, it just boom. Like I had the fight controlled. I was like, man, this is good. Yeah, so it's one of those. So it's like I got to clean it up with JMK, so it wasn't a big deal. But I was like, it's gonna be those type of fights. One that I thought was fun, and I got pushed into a corner. One DTMG. So I was on a banner pinch, and I was trying to fight something. So I looked. I was like, I'm gonna just try this, and if it doesn't work, it's whatever. DTMG. I tried to take a C solo. Guess what? Don't do that. that does not work, and it is fun to watch. Like you're okay to mitigate the damage until it's Dark Trooper's turn. When the Dark Trooper's turn, your C doesn't like that. He is not a fan of getting punched in the mouth by Dark Trooper. It's confirmed. It's a better GL than the GL is. That was funny. That's pretty much everything else I accounted for pretty well. I'll have to go back and look at my history because obviously we don't have it right now. But those are the ones that stuck out, man. Sacha's dude is a monster, and make sure you account for that.
Did you guys have a go-to for Tuscans this week that was off the beaten path?
Nothing.
You will not be surprised to hear that I see solo.
C solo.
Sorry, yeah, you will not be surprised to hear that I see soloed every time I saw it.
Yeah, I didn't have any. It was never a situation. I guess I don't remember. Maybe one round, and then I was able to overkill it like everything else. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I had one idea that I wasn't able to put into practice, and that was the Maul ISP Gar with a Mando no revive level 6, Mandalorian no revive level 6. My concern would be like, can you not get rid of the summons? I think the summons eventually disappears, but you'd be able to get rid of the original Raider for sure on counters, and because you do get the cleanses from Mandalore. So I thought that would have a real shot.
Okay.
I could see it.
Well, I appreciate you guys indulging me that. TJ, please carry on.
No, we're good, man. What I had, honestly, like I said, nothing else sticks out. If it failed or whatever, it was just something else. Nothing that would be worth like bringing up here.
Okay. Sasha, then you went 3-0 this week, so I imagine you won't have too much to say. But what failed you, if anything?
Yeah, so they were good matches, and maybe because I'm running tight on time, Taz, if you don't mind, I'll do this, and then I think we go to defensive standouts next, right?
That's
so maybe
right.
I'll pick that up, and then I got to jump. So I'll play one thing that didn't work. It was straight to the point of what Dagger and TJ have been talking about. It was like case in point for the difference in DTMG squads with Moff Gideon or without. And for me, I like the idea of AdRad. It's just, it almost feels like this kind of cheeky or cute thing where like, oh, I could take out these really strong Empire with a squad that's going to like abuse the mistargeting on the other side and let them just keep punching Jin. I did that, I think, in the first round against Theo. I think I used that successfully against a DTMG Storm and Scout, and it's like totally the plan. Oh, this looks really good. You know, who needs the damage reduction Rebel Datacron that went poof? I'm all good. And then it was Dr. Padon I faced in the second round. Padon's always setting really great squads on D, and Padon went with DTMG OG Moff Gideon, as exactly like, TJ and Dagger were saying, plus Scout in this case. And I felt all cocky, walked in with my AdRad, SRP, and Jin, and like 7 seconds later was really scrambling to, whoa, okay, what else do I have that can beat this team? And I ended up using Bo-Katan Mandalore. But it was that learning that, AdRad has its limits, and that limit seems to come in that kind of delineation of DTMG squads between whether you include Moff Gideon or you don't. If you include OG MG, they're fearsome. And like TJ was saying, that Dark Trooper just wallops.
Man, I just had something I wanted to ask you, but I forgot. Damn, something you were just saying. Well, I hope it comes back to me. But that is interesting. Did you are you so pressed that you need to talk about your standout defense right now, or can you wait till I cover mine?
Now you do yours, and then if you don't mind, I'll start when we flip over.
Yeah,
we'll
ping right back off you. You'll be the inflection point for the next segment. Okay.
Thanks,
So what failed me? So I didn't have really good Empire crons this week, so if you're gonna try and do like Iden Death Range against a sword or against a Finn Zori Resistance Hero Finn team, probably that 400% offense is the best one in either offense or defense application. In the particular case of Iden, I don't think the defense pen and offense penetration after the start of the first turn. I don't think that's good enough. It's not good enough. It wasn't punchy enough for me, so that was a lesson learned. I also definitely struggled against the myriad of doubt teams. I was pleased to see though that stuff could still get whomped like a random GG team, but I failed with Traya, Nihilus, and Scion on Iden this week. Iden was once again my bane, as is tradition. EP Mara Jade Starkiller worked for me in round 2, and then just got devoured in round 3. Again, like Iden Shore in range, so it's just like they opened up on Mara Jade, and she did pretty well actually. She only had about 60% of her protection eaten, and then she was otherwise okay. But then they turned their attention to EP, and it's just a couple, he took a straight basic from Iden and a couple other hits, just 30% health casually, no protection. Just barely hanging on. Haven't gotten to his first turn yet. Hadn't gotten to anybody's turn yet. So, yeah, that was great. Wouldn't recommend that experience. I was reminded about the stupidity of using Old Republic Jedi with JKL lead, because I was thinking about the mechanics of the characters and how it would help me control what was on the enemy team. That was a Rex Crex 5s. But not being able to follow along with the scheduled plan of using JKL's leadership was that doomed me there on that one. Really great lesson learned on Leia, R2, and Drogon. Went in with BKM, Paz, and Grogu, and the Leia AI targeted Grogu a decent number of times with the basic, which causes her to equalize, and we almost killed her twice, but she would equalize just in time and save herself, so we ended up stalling out on that one and had to burn Afra to clean it up. If I had taken BKM, Paz, and Old Bow, I would have been fine. Would have been able to just eat them right up. Is there anything else here that was particularly embarrassing? We did great on Fleet. No, I'd say that's about it. Okay, standout defenses. Sasha, Isha, kick us off.
Sure. So yeah, I had the benefit of playing Zio in that first round. So I got to watch the recording. He streams I think on YouTube, and got to watch a recording of that, and actually got to see some of my defenses in action. One that totally stood out. It was the first time I was saw Chirrut Bays, and it was my own. And it, I can't remember what he took. He took one non-GL squad against it, lost. Then brought SLK, Crew, and Hux, and it blew up his Crew, Hux, and SLK. Then he brought a JML squad against it and was able to get it down by focusing out Chirrut.
Oh, did you end up catching his VOD, or did you catch him live?
I caught that after it was done, so it would have been later that day.
Yeah.
But I had seen a bunch of holds on it, so I knew something had gone right.
Nice.
So that was definitely a cool one. What kind of throughout, I didn't range ensure. I put a doubt cron on them, and along with the 400%. And so it was one of, I only had, I think, 2 or 3 doubt crons going into the week. I've now got a ton, but going into that, I was tight on it, and I was really glad I set it there. I figured it would make Wampa probably just impossible, or at least prohibitively risky. And it ate up a few squads, and it did really well. Then my DTMG with Moff Gideon, I set the variant that has Scout as well, and it did quite well for me. Mm-hmm. So that was a nice one. Let me see if there was anything else. I ended up with a lot of holds in the first match. I think my Iden alone, Zio put 16 battles in and did not clear it.
Oof.
He had a rough time.
Like he said,
and he's playing with a thinner roster than most, and he does a great job with it. But that was tough. And let me see, where else did Paydon drop? I think my Tuscans got another hold there. They got a hold against Zio as well. But those were my top defenses. So those were the ones that stand out. I'll hang on for another couple minutes, but then I got to jump off fast if that's cool.
You dip when you're ready. But hey, since you're the one that's pressed for time, did you have any other comments you wanted to squeeze in right now here for the people, since you're not going to be here for the latter part?
Yeah, actually. So just kind of quick general observations. I think Dagger was just touching on this ironically, but I thought that the level 3s were a little more impactful. I was kind of coming in. And I've got a lot more learnings. I still don't know, in most cases, which counters were used against my squads, but I was maybe a little underwhelmed with the impact of the stats on set 13 Datacrons, but really impressed with the impact, particularly of Doubt as a game changer. On just so many squads have turn meter dynamics, or have really some dependency on protection regen, and Doubt, particularly in a 3v3 where if it's being triggered enough, it's sooner or later the whole opposing squad has Doubt and it's locked. That's not easy to deal with. So I was impressed with the impact of Doubt. I was not overwhelmed with the level 3 on light side. I think it's the best level 3 that's out there for light side, but the one that gives 50% prot up. In most cases, it was a game delayer rather than a game changer, was my experience. And I'm still open to learning more on it. But those were the big observations. And then a lot of the theme that we've been talking about, I think the right DTMG squad is beastie, and is you got to come correct on it. And the Saw Chirrut Bays, when that squad is really well set up, I guess the last thing I'll drop is I got from Territory War rewards enough materials for one more Relic 9. I put it on base. For the Saw Chirrut Bays, because he's a good tank regardless, pre-ton everything. But the fact that you can jack his health up, and he shares 20% of his health with Chirrut, that Chirrut with the right data cron just hits like a friggin' truck. Like I said, I mean, I got to watch a video of it blowing up a like really good Slacker squad, and like it can take a GL. So that was that. Those were my main impressions. I think it's a really good, healthy state of the game.
Yeah. No, it is good. All right. Well, I mean, yeah. By all means, feel free to stay with us here and keep chatting as long as you've got the time. But I'm glad we got those comments in. Let's rotate back around to Dagger here about your standout defenses. So, what did well for you this week? You there, bud? Got your mic on mute. I don't know if you're tied up. Let's rotate maybe to TJ and come back to Dagger.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine. By hook or by crook, we'll get this done.
Yep. So, surprisingly enough, round 1, my saw-based trick got hit twice. Nobody died, didn't play. So I don't know if it's standout defense because that was the standout defense. Literally 10 banners and it was done, which is fair. No, I'm really likes 3s. Round 3 though against AME, so it's a great opponent, Call Patrol, great player. What stood out for me honestly is the doubt and ships. So what got me the holds I needed to be able to get the win were Malgus, so Malgus with doubt. And then I was trying to go through the other teams on my stuff because obviously we don't have the history right now. The other one that got me a hold bottom front was DTMG. So that one right there. And it wasn't – what's funny is I don't know what he used, but who was dead was DTMG. So it was only Scout and Storm left alive. It's a fair statement. It's like I said, it's new for everybody, but that was just a standard comp, and that held just fine. And then what got me my win was ships. A hold on both my Leviathan and a hold on Malevolence is what got me the win because I should have actually technically lost the stuff I was trying. So I'll give it to ship RNG, but those were the big ones. Doubt is just the moneymaker, man. It messes with your entire game plan.
It's true. Okay. All right. Dagger, is this a better time? We good to come back to you? Standout defenses?
Yeah. I'm in Sasha's boat now where I'm up against it. So, yeah. Defenses. Lord Vader. I fought 2 people who didn't have bows, so Lord Vader did okay. Yeah. Well, Leia continues to, I won't say frustrate, but continues to rack up some holds here and there. I think because people are trying to go too cheap. I don't think it's necessarily because it's like, oh man, I can't beat Leia anymore, right? I think it's people are trying to, like the Inquisitor thing doesn't really, it kind of works, right? Kind of, sort of.
Like Reva Slacker would still work, right?
Well, yeah, I'm just talking
about
not
Reva Slacker, Reva Starkiller. My bad.
Oh yes. But my point is, I had Reva versus Leia suggested, like Reva GI7, and it didn't go well for me when I was testing. And I assume I'm not the only person who tried that. Other than that, I think like obviously it was touched on DTMG Saw. Man, I might try that Iden team you mentioned, Sasha, because it's such a mainstay for me on offense. Just because it like kind of just shits. What's one of those things that just kind of shit stains things. Like it turns out if you have a team like with Han and Chewie, right? If you get to go first, it's really easy to win generally. But yeah, not a whole lot of standout defenses. Just kind of drops, kind of like scattered across my board. You know what I mean? It's one of those where it's like just like myself, right? There wasn't one team I specifically like shit the bed against. It was. I dropped everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah. And then, if Sasha's still here, let him go first. But yeah, if I could go first on takeaways, or second if Sasha's still here.
Yeah. Well, let me just move quickly through my own standouts. There aren't a ton of them here this week. Ray Swallow RJT was one of my few holds. Of course, DTMG, Chirrut, these had some performance. Everybody was kind of messing around with what we were going to do with that. I also had Tuscans get me the odd hold. So really, people are coming prepared for your GL. So it's a lot of B teams had good results this week for most people. But the other one that did well for me was good old reliable DR BSF and Fast Malik. God bless. That one actually got a hold on Cyrus, so I'll put that feather in my cap and take the L with it. But okay. That's enough out of me. Let's rotate here to Dagger then on takeaways. So what we're taking away from week 1 and looking to apply here going into week 2.
Yeah. So as mentioned a couple of times, if your opponent has bow, just hold Lord Vader. They don't be dumb. Don't set Maul. It gets Jawas. They're nested. Like, don't do it. It's dumb. Don't split your DTMG and Baby Gideon unless you're okay with your opponent being able to cheese the team, because Radis and Night Sisters seem to work better. We'll see with history, of course, when Insight comes out. But yeah, like just our discussion here, the common denominator on being able to beat that team with something a lot cheaper boils down to, do you have both Gideons? And if the answer is no, yeah, and I think we're at I think to echo what Sasha said, I think we're at a spot now where at least DR is back on offense for the similar reasons I mentioned with it's the same reason Hondo's on offense for me, and Han is on offense, and Aiden's on offense. If you get to go first, right, your chances of winning go really high. And I think that, so what, right, so that's like, especially in 3v3, when you have to kill so many teams, it's like, all right, if I can just go first, I can mitigate a lot of what they're trying to do. So I think that's one of my biggest takeaways, is trying to find more teams or create more teams or cobble together more teams that are just capable of going first. That probably ends up with me holding more GLs and holding more, like I said, more Malgus, because he gets like the plus 80 speed from his unique, right?
Yeah.
Holding DR, right?
What was that Aiden comp that you're looking that you want to set that Sasha mentioned?
Range Storm.
Range Storm. Yeah. Okay, yeah. That is whatever. It was sticking in my head because I was wondering if it was something I hadn't seen. But that is the one that I was seeing, surely. So, yeah.
Yes. So it's basically like, especially in 3v3 when you have to kill so many teams, going first is such a game changer. And your GLs don't go as far, right? Because you have 8 GLs and 15 teams to beat, right? So, like, even if you save all your GLs, you get to take about half their teams out. Which means you still have to figure out how you're beating the other shit. So yeah, it's like Afra, Starkiller, DR, Malgus, Aiden, Han, Hondo, right? There's 7 more teams right there. All you gotta do is get the 15 of those teams to go first, and you'll figure out you can figure out what to beat and how at that point. But yeah, like I said, so much and it wasn't even the drops, right? And I mentioned this during the where I failed. It's so hard to pinch banners when everybody hits like a truck and you don't really have any mitigation.
Yes.
The left side prod up really helps.
Yes.
And with that specifically, and as was touched on, the dark side doubt really throws a wrench in some of your teams, because like your Terminator teams just kind of fall over to a degree. So yeah, it's just, again, it's next week is probably just going to be, unless we get some revelations from Insight on what to use, I think it's just going to be me holding more than I did this week, and I thought I held a lot this week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's funny. It's weird, right? Like, it feels like it's an efficiency meta, but defense matters. Defense matters. How's that work for you? Huh?
Yeah, it's insane.
All right. Sasha, are you still with us?
Yeah. No, he left. I was going mute, and I'll stay as long as I can.
Okay, no worries. All right, well, let's pivot to you, TJ. How about your takeaways? What are you looking forward to applying here in week 2?
Right now, and what I feel like, I think we're going to see as a common denominator, Darkseid is just going to reign supreme. I think we're in the wilds for Lightside for a long time.
Where are they going to reign supreme? You mean attack, defense?
No, it's defense. It's just defense.
Yeah,
what's going to hold more than not is the ability to take, I know this counter that always works. Well, oh no, it doesn't work. Those are very strong values to play a game where everybody gets into a rut of, I'm going to do the same thing I always do. Well, Doubt's really changing the perspective on that. And honestly, what I think we're going to see and what I'm taking away, I can't give away too much of what I want to try, but I think what we're going to be seeing is some funky dark side super teams. that are really going to mess with people's objectives and what they try to apply. I can't give more than that. I think the data will come out. I want to test my hypothesis, but I was writing down some comps. I'm like, yeah, I think this is really going to mess with things. And then put in the right spot, I think it'll be a game changer. And what's really going to just take people either a thought to try, and then when it fails, it's going to be a bad fail because you know as well as I do. You get down one dark hole, and it just goes way dark. So that's where I think we're at right now. I think it's going to be the dark side super teams and some other funky little bits they're going to add in. I don't see where light side's going to hold as well as dark side is because of that level 3 on this Datacron. It is just a monster, and will get you. It will catch you slipping.
Yeah, maybe something like if you're inclined to be having, Leia and Rey on defense, and Prot would definitely serve them well. But like to what Sasha was saying earlier, it does feel like it's more of a delay of the inevitable than a forbidding, like the doubt can be to some of your favorite counters. So I take your point there. That's a good one. Anything else you wanted to throw in?
I think we're good, man. I think week 2 we're gonna have a lot of data to play with and a lot more insight into the intricacies of what's working and what's not and why. But right now it's still Wild West, and I don't think we've bottomed out how far this doubt is gonna go.
Yeah. All right. For my own part, what I'm thinking about applying here for next week is, for Baze Chirrut Undersaw. If it's not a GL, it's got to be Reva. That's what week 1 taught me. Like, Trey ain't going to do it. A lot of stuff that you would think is of a similar tier to Reva is not going to do it. So it's got to, and it can't just be any GL. We already know that, right? It's got to be kind of like Slacker and stuff of that kind. Like, you can't kind of slow roll it. You can't be doing any kind of slow roll plan. Lord Vader just gets bopped out, so if you're not opening up with explosive damage, Slacker, JMK, maybe even Leia, something like that. I guess Rey would be dicey, but possible. But you get the idea. So much depends on how you're going to deal with the Chirrut Cron, and then, of course, DTMG. Look at Insight, because I don't even know what's going to be rock steady for it that isn't an overkill. That being said, overkill is the name of the game for some of these crons. I know Dagger pointed this out in our preview video for starting off this season, but we're going to be seeing... I forgot what he said. I'm distracted by something Lizzie's doing. I'll remember later on. But yeah, DTMG, you got to plan around so that and cheer. And then, of course, an observation I made this week is about the protection up in the doubt, level 3. You can push those thresholds and skip. So, if you hit somebody so hard that they go all the way past that lowest third trigger point for whether or not it's doubt or, light side protection up, you do skip the first 2. Like, it's not like doing doubt 3 times. It's going to do doubt once. It's going to trigger the prod up once if you're, punching all the way where you're, getting down that low. So use that to plan out your attacks, Like I noticed using Afra against a Darksider team that had doubt, when you have doubt that you can't get your 100% turn meter when she's having the droids basic or when she's doing that first basic herself. So you're waiting, you're biding your time. You're focusing on one target so that if it does get brapped, the only reason to not focus on one target that has doubt is if it profits you more to never trigger, to trigger doubt as little as possible in the first place, as opposed to just focusing in on one character. That's something you'll have to balance out, but knowing that you can push through those thresholds will be useful. All right, guys. Final thoughts here. We're turning towards the end. So, Dagger, any final notes you want to leave for the people? Anything else tickling at the back of your mind before we look to close out?
Just to reiterate, don't split your Gideons and put Gideon and Saul up front and make it your opponent's problem. You don't do that. Don't do the dumb thing like I did and be like, let's put one up top and let them deal with. Yeah, just make them pay make them pay the blood price to your back wall.
Right, and then you're denying them the discretion about how they prefer to fight it later.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's good value. TJ, final thoughts? Any last tidbit you want to give to the people?
I would honestly say this would be a perfect time. Go back and watch the streams. I know I'm taking my own advice on this one. I would go back and watch as much as you can to understand. Everybody was fighting all different things this week. There was a lot of different comps out there. I would try to do as much homework as you can. When the data goes up, look at GG because it's going to be a powerful week having that kind of intel.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. For my part, look at your history on GG this week and pay attention to the B teams years that got 56, 57. There's going to be a lot of your matches. If we're coming up to this point where you need to hold so much to be sure that you're able to adequately, we're saying like adequately with quotation marks, like you actually need to overkill some of these new really powerful crons. That's fine and all, but as we've seen, that does not an efficiency match make when we don't have a ton of great defensive stats. So look at what's your opponent scored 56 and 57 and really think about how to move that off. Think about what you can trade off while still making sure that you've got what you need for proper attacks. Don't be janky, don't be guessing. Look it up on GG and look at your opponent's round 3 of last week very closely, because that will be the best of their lessons learned. They'll take from that. That's what they learned from rounds 1 and 2. Look at the round 3, and that'll give you a strong sense about what they're looking to do to kick off week 2. All right, guys. As always, I appreciate you, Dagger, TJ, and Sasha Isha, who's since left us here, had to run off for the family. Really appreciate you guys making the time out of your busy, work and family schedules to make our show. I'm really proud of what we're doing here. I'll get to work uploading this to YouTube tonight. For all of my patrons, you get 3 days of early access, so as soon as it's live, it's yours. And for all of our subscriber base out there on YouTube, this video will be available Friday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern, or right about thereabouts. But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to all your feedback now, not only on YouTube, but through all the various, podcast sources. I'm really looking forward to it, and I appreciate you guys' interest. We're closing up on that 500 subscriber YouTube. That's like the start of the journey towards monetization. We're getting really close to the 4,000 hours of watch time. You need to have like 1,000 YouTube subscribers to get like channel ads. These are all like things like annual goals, but you guys are in the last couple of months taking that solidly out of the realm of wishful thinking to, oh no, this maybe could happen, within this year. So really want to thank you guys for that. And again, appreciate the interest. And until next time, it's been real, it's been awesome, it's been real awesome. Take care.